So that leads us on perhaps then to the role of BCS as the Chartered Institute in the IT space. Obviously the issues we raised here are things that we should be raising. What do you think the BCS should be doing in this area to educate? Paul, you're right.
Well, I chair the entrepreneurs group, and one of the things that we've been, one of our members of that, Tony Fisher, Fab Lab in London, which is 100% designed around bringing Internet of Things through, allowing them basically a lab where they can try out their ideas. If you've got a great idea, talking about the ecosystem we were earlier, that unleashing great UK, indeed any entrepreneurs who want to come do it in the UK. Typically, the obvious thing is you have an idea, you want to test it, you want to work out whether it works or not. So you want to find and do that quickly. You might want to, you'll need to try and understand how that might need to pivot, whether it's got a customer acceptance, whether it will work, all those kinds of things. You want to get it funded, and then you want to kind of work with potentially, wider parts of the ecosystems, your IBMs and your Microsofts and your HPs and so on, or depending, obviously Google's. It might be a whole range of stuff. So I think what BCS, certainly on the entrepreneurs group, we're looking to do is create that whole ecosystem in an open way. So if you're an entrepreneur, you can come along and we can provide both technology and business mentoring. We can point you to various parts of the ecosystem where you can try out your ideas and so on. Again, in an open way, so recognising that commercial organisations want to give themselves a critical edge, but this is about driving UK PLC forward, and then also working with all the large IT and telco and tech companies to kind of recognise that whilst they have some brilliant entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, smart people within their organisation, actually where real entrepreneurial innovation comes from is often the small person with that great idea with the passion and the drive to take it through. So as I say, creating that whole ecosystem. You've already pointed, I think, at some key lobbying areas around the standard side of things, and I think we should get very kind of proactive on that side of things, because it's a key enabler to unleashing the economic growth that can come from IoT.
Cool. Thank you very much. Good.
Can I just add to that? I think the coming from, as a startup, I also just wrote a report for the Connected Digital Economy Catapult around connected connected product startups, and the biggest hole in the UK at the minute, and I don't know whether BCS is positioned to help in this matter or not, is still financing. There is absolutely no funding available from either VCs or angels or whatnot. It does not exist for B2C applications in this country. There's a real fear of consumer products and consumer product investments. And I think even if the BCS were to help educate the investment community with respects to what IoT means, what are some of the underpinning technologies that might be worth investing in, some of the applications that are really great and fantastic, even just in that networking piece of entrepreneurs, technologists, and the investment community, there's a really big job to be done there. And I have weekly calls with startups who are having to fail quite publicly on crowdfunding platforms because they have no other choice. And maybe the campaign wasn't put together very well. It doesn't mean that what they have is a fundamentally brilliant idea. And they're just, abandoning ideas and just getting tired of finding no money at all, or moving abroad, and I think that's a real shame. And
certainly, the investors I talk to, the startups I'm working with and investing in, if you talk about B2B, you've got a chance. You talk B2C, it's typically a short conversation.
Absolutely.
And also there's still this generic problem around the length of time that you need to make a return on. So there's
Of
still
course.
very, very, very short term
Of
in
course.
this country when compared to other parts of the world, which is
Yeah.
very, very frustrating.
I mean, and it's not even a sort of US versus UK situation, because the US has been investing in very short, apps and things that you can flip quite quickly. But there's an industrial history to this country. People used to build things and make them quite successfully and sell them quite successfully. So there's talent there, there is appetite there. But this new generation of, for lack of a better expression, inventors is finding absolutely no support. And I know for a fact that there will be some US incubators that will open in the UK. But again, why is it coming from abroad when we have all the elements here? So that would be, I think, something that BC should at least be aware of, and help that networking piece, and help really sort of match together investors who might have a BDC interest. They just don't realize they do, because all they've been exposed to is smart fridge ideas or smart toothbrush ideas. So there are more out there.
Yeah. Okay.
So speaking as a fellow of the BCS,
Yes.
I see
Please
I see the best contributions BCS and our members can make is when we get involved in projects for Internet of Things products, to reflect on these comments we've made about the ethical, the privacy, the security, and really sort of take it upon themselves to take the moral high ground and say that we need to be doing these things, we need to be considering these security aspects from the ground up, we need to bear in mind the fact that this data belongs to the person who's buying it, and really push the company they're working with from the inside to make the right decisions and make the correct ethical choices as these products come to market, because we are getting into a difficult area where the legislation, regulation, etc., even if they've got the teeth, they don't know how to use those teeth yet. So I think BCS can really take a lead there in making us proactive in all the products we get involved in.
Yeah, well, one final thing, if I might chime in, is also the whole educational thing. Just getting enough people with enough technology skills is generally still a bit of a problem. The well-versed byways and highways of STEM and diversity and all that kind of stuff are now being covered, but I don't think you can ever relent on those. They are an ongoing issue in terms of getting the right talent right across the scale, from apprentices, technicians, through to world-class graduates. And one particular one for me is, whilst having got a graduate job with a large corporate and had a great career, also creating both the funding and whatever ecosystem, whatever the right word is, such that young men and women coming out of university say, what I want to do is be an entrepreneur, because I get to drive a whole bunch of value, I get to drive my idea. There's a whole bunch of benefits to being an entrepreneur. It's hard rock mining, it's tough, nobody should as we all know, think it's easy. But I think that if you're a really good graduate, still today in the UK, you're driven towards go and get a job at one of the large corporates. I think it's a shame, because you miss out then on some key talent, and I think they miss out on the opportunity at a stage of their life when they're arguably, he said as an old guy, but arguably innovative and energetic, and can really drive this whole area forward.
Yeah. The Internet of Things really brings to the fore, I think more than any other technological revolution we've had so far, dare he say, is the combination of technology with user experience and design. The two have to work hand in hand together, and so you can't just, for example, design a product then hand it over to the designers to the technology, to the UX people to put the veneer onto the front of, as we have so often in the past with software. Yeah. At least in the software industry now, we're getting the hang of having the designers design it from the user perspective, outside in design and so on. But with Internet of Things devices, it's all about the tactile nature of it, where the buttons are, how you interact, the interaction experience, the user journeys. There's a fabulous book that David Rose has recently published called Enchanted Objects, which I absolutely recommend to everybody, because it really does bring to the fore. It almost ignores the technology. It just talks about how do you use this thing, how do your children use it, how do your grandparents use it, and that's what we've got to think about the Internet of Things. It's totally intertwined with the technology.
And as a product designer, I think we're back to the Ford sort of time in product design, when engineers suddenly had to realize that they had to work with at the time were drafts people, and people who were used to just being brought in at the last minute and, just make it pretty. And product design, or traditional product design in the medical fields, in automotive, in industrial application, has gotten over that. But now we're sort of in a new wave where innovation is being pushed by technologists who have never interacted with industrial designers. And that field is kind of happily sitting there doing their job, but they need to suddenly, meet again and have a forum for meeting. And I think, possibly BCS could be it.
Okay. Well, that's been very, very good. Excellent. Thank you for your feedback and your comments. What we're going to do now is go to the audience to see if they have any questions.